Hello again. In this video, we are going to be talking about Google Forms. I love using Google Forms. I find it's a great way to do assessments, and it was really helpful for me during this digital time. So I wanted to go over some of these features of Google Forms and a basic overview. So when you click here, I like this because you can navigate, you can go to your drive, you can navigate between docs, sheets, slides, and forms. So going here, if you click File Picker, this is where you can upload something to use. You can use this on Google Docs and Google Slides as well. And you can upload things from your computer. You can choose from your drive, things have been shared with you, etc. You can sort your quizzes by last opened, last modified by you, last modified in general, or by title. And this is really nice as well. And then it'll be in alphabetical order here. And then you can also go between owned by anyone. So it would be you and people who have shared, owned by only you, or owned only by people who have shared with you. So not owned by you. All right. When you open this page, this just shows you all of the forms that you have. Okay. If you want to add a new form, you click plus button. You can click a template, or you can create a new one on your own. I'm going to click a template just to show you how that works. So I'm going to go to general, and if your network or district has templates, those would be in this section. Okay, I want to do an exit ticket, for example. I like these because it'll show you specific things that you might want to use in your classroom. So let's let that load up for a minute. Google Forms I really like for grading, because if you set up all of the point information and how you want it to grade, it'll pretty much grade your assignments for you. So all you have to do is go back and look at the results or answers to questions. So I find that very helpful. Notice it takes a little longer because it has to create that form for you. All right, so now we have our exit ticket here. Now you can change your theme. So if you hit customize, it'll have an image uploaded for you, or you can choose an image. So this is cool because you can upload your own. You can pick from your photos, and then you can also pick from different themes. So let's say I want to go to my photos. I'm going to click this one that I made. I'm going to hit insert, and there we go. I'm going to hit done. And now here is my photo. So now I can create my exit ticket. It's really cool because based on your picture, it will actually create theme colors, and then you can obviously add more by clicking here and adding your colors. Okay, so here, this will be the title of what your assessment or exit ticket or whatever it's going to be called. So we're calling exit ticket. Before you leave class, answer the following questions. You can add name and email if you would like. And then how you add these in here is, I don't know if you noticed this little rectangle up here. You can hit add a question, import a question. So you can import questions from other quizzes that you've made. You can add a title and description, which would be this. You can add an image. So that's kind of cool because you can add pictures, go with your questions. You can also add videos, and you can add sections. So let's say I want to add a section. So now I'll call me section 1 of 2 will be my title with my description. Section 2 of 2 is going to be this part. And then that way you can break it up into like multiple questions per section, or if you want to do like part A, B, and C, the section part is great as well. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete section because I don't want sections for this one. So then you can say, what is one important thing you learned in class today? So this is how you add a question. You click question, and then you can say, did you like today's lesson? And you can do multiple choice. So you could say yes, no, maybe. And I like here, they'll give you suggestions you can add, or you could hit check boxes, drop down, or you could hit short answer where they can just type how they're feeling, or paragraph. It gives you a longer box. You could do a multiple choice grid, check box grid. And you could do a linear scale. So like, did you like today's lesson? 1 to 5. 1 as in yeah, or 1 as in no. It was boring, just for example. And yes, it was amazing. And then I make sure when I'm doing a quiz, I hit required. So I know all my students have to answer every single question. You can duplicate and it'll just make a copy. And then you could add a description if you wanted to. And then you just click off and on to your next thing to keep moving. And then you can also click on boxes and move them wherever you want them. So I'm going to move this one. And I like that because you might be looking at a question and be like, I think it might actually go better up here. And you can move it around. So I like having those options available. So the long answer would be the paragraph one. And this just gives you the option to type more things. All right, so that is how you basically create everything you want in a quiz. If you want to add an image, you just click the image button. And again, you can pick from by taking a picture, by a link, in your photos, in your drive. Anything you want. So let's say I want to add a picture. Go on my clip art. I'm going to put this one in here. I'm going to hit insert. And then I'll have an image and I could say, what do you notice about this picture? Obviously I wouldn't put this in exit ticket, but this might be just a good type of question you might use. And then you could add in underneath here and say answer the question with the picture, or wherever you want to say it. Right today. Here we go. And then I make this a short answer. And they would type in, I noticed that the teacher is wearing white boots, or her sweater is green, etc. The answer, you can hit required again. So this is really nice. Now let's say you want to create an answer key. So here's what you do. So I'm going to go down to one of these. I'm going to click here and I'm going to hit description. And then this way I can type a description that goes with it, or I might say, I am looking for complete sentences using capitals, punctuations, periods, etc. So then what I will do is hit response validation. And then this is where I can say what I need. So maybe I'm going to be looking at length. So maximum character count is 100. And that's how many characters they're allowed to type in their answer. That's something that is good to have as well. So I'm going to add another question in here. And I'm going to make this a multiple choice question. Should be right here. I'm going to say, how old are you? I just want to show you the basics of how these work. Okay, so option one, I'm going to say 10 years old. And 2, 9 years old. 11 years. Okay. Then we hit required response. Multiple choice. And then I can shuffle the order if I don't want them to go that way, which is kind of cool. And then there you go. There's your basic multiple choice question. You can click off. And there you go. So those are how you create questions. So let's say you want to go to responses. This would be where your students' responses would be if they had any. You can also change settings. You can download responses. You can delete responses. And then let's say you want to preview. You can press this button, and then it will show you what your form is going to look like when students click on it. And then here, if you go to settings, you can change your share settings. So you could say collect email addresses, and then they have to type in their email address in order to answer. So that requires a sign-in. And then you can also limit to one response, which can be helpful because sometimes your students might try to retake it. And if it's like something that you want to use as a formative assessment, you don't want them to do it more than once. So be careful with that. You can give students can edit after they submit if you would like. Again, that just depends on your assignment. And you can change those however you want. If you hit presentation, it can show them their progress of how far they are. It can shuffle the question order, and that would be maybe if all your kids were taking it at the same time, it might be nice to have that shuffled so they're not looking at the same questions. And then you can put a message that will appear at the end when they submit the form. Now you're probably wondering, but what if I want to make this graded? You haven't showed me how to do that. Well, you're going to click quizzes. You're going to click make this a quiz. And then you can release the grade immediately after submission or later after manual review. And then they can see their missed questions, correct answers, and point values, depending on if you want to take it again. If you want them to take it again, then don't put correct answers because you want them to try again. You can also turn on locked mode, which this is really nice because let's say you have your whole class taking a test, or they're at home taking a test, and you don't want them to open any other applications on the internet to cheat, then you can click turn locked mode on and it will lock. So that way the only tab they can have open is this one until they're done with their quiz. Okay, so now it says make a quiz, right? So I'm gonna hit save. Now I'm gonna go back to my questions. So let's click here. Let's say I want to make this a graded question. I click answer key. I'm going to give this 1 point. And because this was a scale, I don't need to add any feedback or any answers, but what I could say is, thanks for grading my lesson. And this will turn up when they see their grade at the end. And I can hit save. And that way everyone will get this feedback when they answer that question. And then what's one important thing you learned in class today? Now, this is where you have to be careful because when you are creating an answer key, make sure you don't give them a specific answer. And I think for long answer, you can't do that, but I'll show you what I mean for short answer. But you can add answer feedback. You can say, amazing job, if you wanted to say that when they're done. But most short responses and long responses, you typically have to manually grade because if you don't, then if students don't type something exactly perfect, they can get it wrong. And that's not really fair unless maybe you're teaching older kids. I mean, if you're teaching high schoolers, college students, middle schoolers, probably even, you might expect them to type an answer an exact way. But in elementary school with spelling and all those things, it might be a little harder. So there's some variations you can do. So now I'm going to save my feedback. I'm going to make this 2 points. I'm going to hit done. Okay, I'm going to go to this question. Answer the question about the picture. So now this is where if you hit answer key, you can add a correct answer. So what I do here is I typically don't do this because, again, like I was saying, if I say the answer has to be she is wearing green, then they have to type this answer exactly how it was typed. You can add multiple answers though if you're looking for multiple things, or you'll accept multiple answers. You could do it that way as well. But again, I found even with my elementary students, they still won't choose the exact, even if you give 5 different options. So that's up to you what you want to do. Also, make sure, like if you add correct answers, don't click mark all answers incorrect, because that will give you that kind of glitch that I was just talking about. But now again, if you're teaching higher level and you want it to be those exact ones, then yeah, you can hit mark all answers correct. You can add feedback if you would like or not. I could say thank you and save. And then every time they answer a question, they will see that. And then I'm going to make this 1 point and I'm going to hit done. So there you go. And then multiple choice is one where you can pick your answers. So I'm going to click answer key. And then which one do I want to be right? I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to make it 1 point. And then I hit done. And that way it'll know they have to choose this answer. If they don't, it's wrong. And then these ones work the same way as I showed you above. But I just wanted you to be able to show that. And I like to is once you create the point values for all your questions, it will tell you your total points for your quiz at the top. And then let's say you want to send it to your student. You click send. You can send via email. You can send via link. You can embed it as an HTML, but I just like to copy the link. I also like to shorten my URL so it's not as long. I can copy it. I can paste it in Google Classroom, do whatever I want. Also, I could just make sure it's saved in my drive so I can upload it to Google Classroom as an assignment like I showed you earlier. But you can also post your link in the assignment section like I showed you, where you have the option to choose link, doc, drive, upload file, etc. So those are the basics of Google Forms. I'm going to show you what it looks like when students answer your forms. So I'm going to go over here. Now I'm going to open something I've had my students do. Why is that? I apologize. I don't know why that big giant picture of me is there. Okay, I believe I had... All right, I'm going to do this because I did video lesson feedback from my parents, and so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So if you let it load. All right, so if you click responses, this will show you the emails of the people that responded, and then it will show you a graph of your answers. So you can see it'll change the graph, and then obviously if I had no answers, I would have part of my pie chart would be red. So also if I go in here, this is where you can see students' responses to short answer questions. So this is really helpful. And then this is just an overview though. I like to do individually. You can do by question and it'll show you the answer for every single question. Or if you go to individual, it'll show you individual feedback. So it'll show their individual answers to each one, which I really like for going over my students' work. So I can see how they did individually on each question and give feedback from there. But that's basically how Google Forms works. If you, again, need help with anything, how to do anything more in depth, I would be glad to help you. And please, hopefully this video will help you and you enjoy making your Google Forms.